action. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Gay Movie Show. I'm your host, Mike Lovins, and with me as always is the Ebert to my Siskel, Ryan Provost.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
I'm great. I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm good. All right, so got a few movie news stories to tell everybody about. First,
Newsreel. Real news.
So first, our friends of Dorothy will appreciate this one. Last week, Deadline released the first images of Renee Zellweger as Judy Garland. If you're following us on Instagram, you may have seen the photo for yourself. The Jerry Maguire star will be playing Garland in a new biopic simply titled Judy. The movie is set in 1968 and tells the story of her final concerts in London. No release date has been announced. So, Ryan, you posted those pictures for us, or at least that picture. I think it was just one picture so far. But how'd you think she looked?
I mean, she looks very much like Judy Garland, so that's great. And Judy Garland had a very specific look to her, but I'm going to be more interested to see if she embodies her in her voice and her actions.
Right.
And so I thought it was interesting to just release that picture without any kind of,
There wasn't a whole lot of context.
Right. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but either way, I'm excited that a movie about Judy Garland is getting made.
Yeah. So, like I said, I couldn't find a release date. So I don't know if this is something to expect this year or if they're just getting started, if it's going to come out next year.
Yeah, I doubt it'll come out this year, but who knows? You never know with these things.
They push these things out pretty quick sometimes. Yeah, she is looking a lot like Judy Garland. And since she doesn't look a whole lot like Renee Zellweger, it's...
Shade being thrown.
All right. So moving on to the next story. So what started out with just out actor Matt Bomer has now spread to Kristen Bell and Neil Patrick Harris. All three stars have bought out screenings of Love, Simon in their hometowns to allow people that may not be able to afford to go see the movie get a chance to see the movie.
Oh, that's nice.
So isn't that pretty cool?
That's really cool.
Yeah, so Matt Bomer, like I said, was the first one to announce that, and then other people have kind of started following suit.
Cool. Yeah, I've already seen it a second time. I know you've seen it a couple times.
I have.
So it's a fun watch. I'm glad that more people are going to get to see it, because if you listen to last week's episode, we are very high on that one.
Right. Very true. Very true. So lastly then, in a recent interview with British channel ITV News, Steven Spielberg gave his opinion of Netflix movies being nominated for Oscars. He's quoted as saying, "Once you commit to a television format, you're a TV movie. A good show might deserve an Emmy, but not an Oscar."
Huh.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, especially because, the way movies and TV shows are getting released now and being produced, they're kind of blurring the lines between how we look at those things. I mean, so I see his point. I guess what I would say is, going forward, the Oscars are supposed to represent what the best movies of the year were.
Right.
And if it's a movie and it was released that year, I think it should be considered for whatever awards they want to consider it for.
Right. I mean, the Oscars do have their conditions of that it has to be on screens for at least a week in New York and LA.
Yeah.
So, Netflix and I think maybe even Amazon has done stuff where they'll go ahead and put them out in the theater for just that length of time.
I mean, that's what they did with
the Big Sick?
Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, Manchester by the Sea.
And yeah, I think Big Sick was the same. Although Big Sick I
think it had a longer run.
Yeah, but I think it's fine. I don't think we need to get too into the weeds of what constitutes a made for TV movie versus made for.
Right. And I think it would, if you look at when Steven Spielberg was in his prime, if you will, like, the Indiana Jones and E.T. days, I mean, he still got it going, but I mean, when he was at the top of the game, a TV movie was like an ABC Sunday night special or a Lifetime movie of the week and stuff like that. TV now is so much more cinematic than it ever used to be.
Yeah. Because I remember when I was a kid, they would always release those, like, I don't know if you remember, but like all those mini series,
Right.
like it would be something that they would release, parts each night for like a few days in a row or for a couple weeks. And so even what those TV movies look like is so different now. And just all TV shows and movies are kind of moving in a new direction where they all feel more cinematic. And so maybe we do revisit what constitutes a made for TV movie versus a theatrical release movie, but I don't know if I have any more.
Good enough.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we've been doing the past few weeks. We're, instead of doing a full-on review, we are going to be talking about our least anticipated movies of the for the remainder of the year and our most anticipated movies for the remainder of the year. Before we do that, though, I did go see Pacific Rim Uprising this past weekend, and I just wanted to throw out a couple little things about what I thought of that.
Yeah, give a little mini review there, Mike.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, I'll tell you, it was good. It was entertaining. It was fun. It was a popcorn flick. It was everything you'd expect for a popcorn flick, but it definitely was not as good as the first one. I know, Ryan, you actually said you haven't seen the first one.
Yeah.
So for everybody else who's listening, if you've seen the first one, don't expect this one to be better than that. But it's kind of hard when this time around you've got a first-time theatrical director and you're following in Del Toro's footsteps. So for what it was, I thought it was good. This time around, the main star is John Boyega, who we know from Star Wars, but he plays a character that is actually the son of the main character from the last time, which was Idris Elba was the father, or was the main character. And so Boyega did a good job. Ironically, his character starts out in this movie very much like Rey did in The Force Awakens. He's a scavenger, and he's trying to find useful parts from the old Jaegers, which were the giant robots. In fact, there's even a scene where he's like rappelling down cables. I mean, it's very much like an homage to the Force Awakens. If you just want a good time and just a popcorn flick, you don't necessarily need to have seen the first one to enjoy this one, because they do kind of explain a little bit of what happened previously and stuff like that. So I'm going to give it 2.5 reels.
Okay.
But see it on your own merit if you want to see it.
Do you have what's your gayest take on Pacific Rim Job 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Clint Eastwood's son is in it, and he's pretty fine looking. Scott Eastwood.
Yeah,
so
he's a good looking dude.
Yeah, he's a good looking. He didn't have a very impactful role, but
are there impactful roles in Pacific
Fair
Rim
enough.
2?
Fair enough. And maybe there's my shade. There's
Yeah.
no real impactful roles.
Here's my shade. I had no desire to see any movie that came out this weekend, y'all. That's why we're doing this way this week, and we're not going to talk much about the movies that came out this weekend, and more so looking ahead to what 2018 has to offer from here on out.
So what do you say we get to our lists?
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about them. I know a couple of our probably most anticipated movies have already come and gone. So if you had asked me at the beginning of the year, Black Panther and Love, Simon, a little different. And even Wrinkle in Time might have been on these lists. So we're not including those because those have already come and gone. We're just looking from here on out in 2018 what we are most and least looking forward to.
And we're at the end of March, so we're getting close to that to the start of the summer movie season and stuff.
Yeah.
First quarter of the year is over, so it seemed like a good time to do this too.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we'll start with our least anticipated. And Ryan, I'm going to let you start off.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and start off with we're both big superhero fans, comic book movie fans. So there's two that are coming out this year that I'm really not looking forward to. One I won't get too much into. I call it my dishonorable mention.
Okay.
Which is X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
That one's coming out this year. I wasn't a big fan of X-Men Apocalypse, so not really looking forward to this one, especially with now the X-Men being potentially part of the Marvel universe. They might have to completely reboot these
I feel like that's
anyway.
what they would end up doing. Yeah.
So I'm not really too invested in it, but the one I'm really not looking forward to is Aquaman.
Oh no.
It's coming out in December, and I was not a big fan of Justice League, and especially was not a huge fan of Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Really?
Yeah, he just that bro surfer dude personality that they gave him was just like I hated when he was on screen. I didn't think he was a very likable character at all for being a superhero, and now a whole movie revolved around him.
So I'm gonna play counterpoint to your point on that, and that's Wonder Woman was fantastic.
But she's a fantastic character
in her own. Well, but she was also that her movie was directed by Patty Jenkins, not Zack Snyder / Joss Whedon. I think Aquaman is going to be directed by James Wan, who did The Conjuring and stuff. I have a little more faith that he's going to do a little something different than the character than how they portrayed him in the Justice League. Maybe
we'll see. That's the only good thing I can think about with this movie is that maybe James Wan does something,
fingers crossed. I'm I'm keeping my hopes up on that.
I am not. I think the whole Wonder Woman thing that turning out good is because even the character that they established in Batman v Superman was a good character, even though she wasn't used all that well. And so they had a solid foundation to start with. They created a terrible character of Aquaman in Justice League. And now I don't care how good the director is. They're being asked to make an entire movie around him. Yeah. And I just don't have a lot of faith.
Okay. All right. Well,
we'll see. We have until December. Yeah. And we still haven't seen a trailer or anything for it. So maybe a trailer will help,
change your mind a little.
Maybe. I don't know. I think
we'll see.
I think, yeah. No.
I think it could be a splash.
Oh my God, Mike. Jesus. This was a mistake.
All right.
We're canceling the episode this week. I'm out.
Moving on.
Moving on. What's your first one?
So my first one is called Skyscraper, and if you're not familiar with it at all, it's a new movie coming out that stars The Rock,
Dwayne
Johnson.
Yeah,
and basically the premise is, from what I could tell in the trailer, somebody built this like futuristic like city inside a building. Like the whole building is essentially a city. And it catches on fire. Apparently it's a sabotage kind of thing, and his family is trapped in there, and he's got to save his family from the top floor and all that kind of stuff. Kind of a towering inferno kind of thing, I guess, but
like more futuristic.
I think so.
See, You trying to turn me on Aquaman. I think that this could be talking about fun summer popcorn kind of movies. I think that it, the premise may sound a little silly, but I think it could be
possibly
it's good.
It's the third movie starring The Rock this year. And I never thought I'd say this, but I think I'm getting a little Johnson fatigue.
Oh my God, Mike. Wow. 2 for 2. This is great. This is great. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Guys, if next week's episode is a solo with just me, you'll know
why
Ryan turned in his resignation.
Okay. say.
All right. Do you have what's your next least anticipated?
So my next one is a sequel to a movie I actually liked. So back in 2015, Jurassic World came out.
Okay.
And I actually kind of like Jurassic World. I thought it was a good sequel to Jurassic Park. I liked the premise. And this summer, in June, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is coming out. And I was really excited that they were making a sequel, but based on the trailers they've released so far, it just doesn't look that great. It seems like the premise is the island where Jurassic World was, which has been abandoned because of all the incidents that happened in Jurassic World, is about to explode from a volcano, and they go to try to rescue some of the dinosaurs. I don't know. It just, the premise could be good, but I just don't.
Well, it looks a little bit like more of the same.
Yeah, although I think so. And I don't know if it's going to happen in this movie, but the Jurassic Park movie I want to see is the dinosaurs coming to the mainland and kind of taking over, you know, like, and the trailer kind of hints that maybe that is something that happens. Maybe all the rescuing the dinosaurs from the island is just the first part of the movie. And if that's the case, and then the rest of the movie takes place on the mainland and they bring the dinosaurs back.
Or God forbid, the whole thing is just a setup then for another movie.
Well, you're always setting up another movie with these kinds of franchises. But I think that is the kind of movie I would want to see. Yeah. They kind of hinted at that in The Lost World, where they brought the T-Rex back to San Diego. But that was just a little like taste. I would like a whole movie where there's dinosaurs on the mainland and people are having to deal with it. Like the whole being on a secluded island thing, it's kind of played out.
Right.
I'm done with that.
I'd be curious to see how they do that and not make it feel like it's trying to be like Godzilla or something. I mean, obviously with more than one dinosaur roaming the city and stuff like that, but maybe a different setting other than New York. Maybe they come into LA or something like that, but
I mean, I don't really care what city they're in. I just want to see dinosaurs all over like a city, like seeing raptors, walking around streets filled with people like that. That's super scary and creepy. And so I think that would be a really fun movie.
Yeah.
But at least from the trailers I've seen so far, not really super high on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
So the next one on my list is Robin Hood. We're getting another Robin Hood movie.
Oh my God. How many times do they need to tell this story?
Right. That's my thought. It's this time around, Robin Hood is being played by Taron Egerton.
Okay. You've turned me around a little bit. Taron Egerton's I'll see him in anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see it, and there's a good chance we'll end up talking about it, but I'm just not looking forward to another Robin Hood movie.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is in it too, and I'm not sure if he's playing like the sidekick. What's the sidekick in Robin Hood?
Little John.
Little John. I wanted to say Friar Tuck, but I knew he wasn't the sidekick character. But I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe if they have Bryan Adams do the soundtrack, I'll look more forward to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They've adapted this story so many times. They've done a Disney cartoon version,
which is the best version.
It's great. They've done the dramatic, action-y kind of version a couple of times. Did you even see the Russell Crowe one a couple years ago?
No.
Exactly. Like, there's already a version of Robin Hood that you would want to see out there if you want to see that story.
Right.
So why keep doing this?
All right. So what is your third?
My third one, and I have seen this trailer for this one too many times, and it just looks awful, Mike, is another sequel. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
My.
Oh my God. Mike, I mean, what a great title though. Because when that trailer was over, I was like, here we go again. Jesus. It looks like more of the same. And I wasn't a big fan of the first Mamma Mia, which came out 10 years ago. And I never hear anyone say, you know what my favorite musical is? Mamma Mia.
I know. And the thing is, too, you've got Meryl Streep and ABBA. I mean, right there, it seems like that should be a good combination, but
yeah, and I know they're trying to appeal to us gays. I know they're coming for us. They
played Cher.
Yeah, they have Cher in it. They keep playing the trailer in front of Love, Simon. Like, they're coming for us, and I am not having any of it, Mike. I'm not having any of it. I'm not. But here's the thing. You know what's crazy? In the movie, Cher plays Meryl Streep's mom.
Yeah.
Cher is 3 years older than Meryl Streep.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Why did Cher even agree to that? Whose mom am I playing? Meryl Streep? That's some shade to say Cher looks old enough to play Meryl Streep's mom.
And no, don't anybody come at me for this, but with all the work that Cher's had done, she looks younger than Meryl Streep.
She certainly doesn't look old enough to be
her
mom. And that's like the big reveal at the end of the trailer is the young girl from the first movie who's Meryl Streep's daughter looks at her and says, "Grandma," and it's Cher who walks up. And it's like, when I saw the trailer, I went to see Love, Simon again this weekend. And when the trailer came on, my friend I was at the movie with turned to me and goes, "Wait, Cher's supposed to be Meryl Streep's grandma or Meryl Streep's mom?" And it's like, But even beyond that, like, that's not why I'm down on this movie. It just looks more the same. They're going to use a lot of the same ABBA songs. I know they're going to use some new ones, but
and it looks like it's going to be flashback heavy, which that seems to me like
annoying. It goes back and forth between when Meryl Streep's character was young and then present day, I guess. And the actress who plays the young Meryl Streep, she's a good actress. She was in Baby Driver last year. She was the waitress in Baby Driver, and I thought she was great in that movie.
I think she was in Cinderella too.
Oh yeah, she was Cinderella. Yeah. So she's a great actress, but I don't know. I don't see the need for this movie. I don't know who the audience is supposed to be. I guess us gays.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be a Greatest Showman type situation where all the gays love it and that's who goes to see it.
But likely not us.
I mean, I'll see it, but I'm not very...
not excited about it.
Not very excited at all, no.
All right. So...
what's your last one?
My last one. So I'll give my dishonorable mention first real quick.
Okay.
And that is Venom. I want this movie to be good so bad. So badly I want it to be good. But from that first trailer, I know it's just a first trailer and it's a teaser, but I've heard all kinds of stories from behind the scenes and stuff like that it's just a train wreck. And that first teaser trailer didn't do much for me, and I'm just worried about with the deal that Marvel has with Spider-Man and stuff like that, that Sony doesn't know what to do then with the Spider-Man characters that they still have to themselves, and trying to do this movie with the villain as the main character, and that doesn't always work very well.
I mean, is there ever a time where that works well? Has there ever been
not really. I mean,
I know Suicide Squad kind of tried that.
They kind of tried that. Maleficent, you know, it's been done. But yeah, not very well.
Yeah, I agree. It was on my short list of least anticipated.
Okay.
But I left it off because there were a couple others that I was a little less. I think this has the potential to be okay. But I'm like you, I'm not very excited for it.
Yeah. They're putting it out in October, so that makes me think they're trying to go for like a Halloween kind of like, oh, it's going to be a scary movie. But
yeah, and that could be really cool if that works out that way. But
yeah. Okay, so
yeah, let's get out of the shade and into the sunlight. And
well, so I've got my
yep. We talked for it so long.
I know, right? It was supposed to just be a mention. But okay, so Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Ugh.
I know there are people who just love that world of Harry Potter, and I liked the actual Harry Potter movies, but that first Fantastic Beasts just I didn't find it all that great, and now too that they're from what I hear they're kind of retconning Dumbledore to not be gay, which would that wasn't a focal point of him in the Harry Potter movies, but when the author comes out and says that the character is gay and that he had a relationship with Grindelwald and now they're going to completely bypass that in this movie, I just feel like that's just one element to my not looking forward to this movie.
Can I say something that may rub some listeners the wrong way?
Sure.
I don't care at all about Harry Potter. Not in the least. I never read those books. I saw the first movie and when it came out and did not really care at all afterwards. So I never saw any of the other movies. And now it seems like they're just trying to keep that franchise going.
Sure. Which is fine.
Sure. And there's an audience for that who will always be excited for anything connected to the Harry Potter universe. And I am
and that's
not
kind of your generation, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely my generation. I remember when I was in school, kids would, there were lots of kids who read the books. I know lots of people around my age who love those movies and that is their everything, and it just never resonated with me at all. And so now that they're not even in the real realm of the books that people loved as kids, they're just making new things to keep that franchise alive and going. That's even less interesting to me. Like there's times where I'm like, oh, maybe I should just go back and watch all the Harry Potter movies. Kind of interests me, but not enough to invest all that time in it. But I definitely have no interest in seeing.
Yeah. And then when you think about if you go back and watch them all, that's like 18 hours,
right,
or more.
And then you tack on some Fantastic Beasts and Grundles, and I don't care. I don't care.
Grundles. Okay.
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Well, why don't we start talking about some movies that we are looking forward to?
Yeah, let's get out of the shade, Mike. Let's get out of the shade.
All right. So let's start with do you want to do your honorable mention, or do you want to start right in? So.
I'll start with my honorable mention.
Okay.
And it's one that's coming up relatively soon, but Deadpool 2 is my honorable mention. Listen, I loved the first Deadpool. I thought it was a really cool, creative take on a superhero movie. I think this one will probably be more of the same in many ways, and so that's why it's not one of my 5 most anticipated movies. But if it is more of the same, I think I'll leave happy.
Right. As long as it's not a lesser... no, I don't think it'll be... I don't necessarily think it'll be better than the first one. But as long as it's at least as funny.
Yeah. And the trailers are good. The trailers have been solid so far. I think that it's a world I enjoy being in, that the Deadpool world, but doesn't look like it's going to be anything new or groundbreaking. I felt like the first Deadpool movie was really refreshing and kind of groundbreaking as far as how they approached a superhero movie.
Like other than like Blade, it was kind of like the first like mainstream rated R superhero movie.
Yeah, but I care less that it was rated R and more that it was just funny, and Ryan Reynolds seems born to play Deadpool, and so like I said, it looks like it's going to be more of the same, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put that in my most anticipated. There's other things that I'm a little more excited about what they could be. Whereas with Deadpool 2, I feel like I pretty much know what we're going to get with that. And I'm cool with that. I'm excited about
Very
it.
good. Yeah, fair. I'm looking forward to that one too. So what's your
honorable mention?
Okay, sure. So my honorable mention is the Disney's Christopher Robin.
Okay.
As a kid, I loved Winnie the Pooh, and this one's it's Winnie the Pooh with Ewan McGregor as an older Christopher Robin. I'm really curious to see how that turns out. It could be a train wreck, but it's just that nostalgic thing in my heart.
Is it live action?
It is live action.
Oh, okay.
So basically the story is Christopher Robin now is an adult. He's got a job. He's getting stressed out and stuff like that. And I don't know if you've seen the trailer or not, but he's sitting on a park bench. He's just contemplating life, what's going on. And all of a sudden, Pooh comes up behind him and, oh, Christopher Robin. My Pooh impression is terrible. Don't judge me on that.
It's shitty, would you say? See, I can do them too, Mike. I can do them too.
Oh, Pooh.
Wow.
Okay. Honorable mentions aside, let's get to the good stuff.
I don't know how much good stuff we've had so far. We'll see.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
This has been fun.
Yeah. All right. So for my first one, I'll stick with the Disney theme.
Okay.
This one's coming out in most of all five of mine are actually coming out later in the year. And so my first one is Mary Poppins Returns. And so like when you were a kid, you were really into Winnie the Pooh. When I was a kid, we had a copy of Mary Poppins that we had recorded. It played on like ABC or something, and we recorded it. So it has like commercials in it and everything. But I remember we watched that a lot growing up. I loved Mary Poppins. Probably one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. A great character, a lot of fun, and a very weird movie.
Yeah.
Which I liked really weird movies when I was a kid. And so with this movie, I'm really excited about it, but I think it has the potential to be really, really good. But I think it also has the potential to be a complete train wreck. So I'm very much anticipating it, but I don't know whether or not I'm going to like it.
Right.
I like what I've seen so far. They've released some like very short trailers for it to maybe drum up some excitement, but Rob Marshall's directing it. He doesn't have the best record in my opinion. He did Chicago, he did Into the Woods.
Yeah.
Neither of which were musicals that I really liked a lot. And so don't have a ton of faith in him, but I love Emily Blunt. I think seeing her so far as Mary Poppins, she looks, like a great Mary Poppins. I think she can be great as that character. Lin-Manuel Miranda is in this. He's awesome and does a lot of great things. I think that character that he's playing could be really cool. And then one of my crushes is in it, Ben Whishaw.
Who's that?
He's in the James Bond movies now. He's Q.
Oh, yeah.
The cute little nerdy
cute little guy. Yeah.
I think he's adorable, and he plays a grown-up Michael.
Okay.
So the kids from the original Mary Poppins are grown up in this one.
Gotcha. Okay. I was going to ask if there was any kind of...
Yeah.
If it was an actual sequel or if it was like...
Someone else asked me this. It's called Mary Poppins Returns.
Well, I mean, she could have... She's timeless. She could have returned, now.
But yeah, so it takes place... I think like 30 years after the first one. The
Gotcha.
Kids are grown up, and so she comes back into their lives again. And so yeah, that it's really like I said, I think it could be really, really great, but I also think it could be anywhere on the spectrum. I could see it being amazing. I could see it being very meh and not so awesome, and I could see it being a complete train wreck. And so I really hope it's good. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm excited to see a Mary Poppins movie that's new. I'm excited for it.
Well, the beautiful thing is even if it is a train wreck, you've still got your original to watch whenever you want,
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't do anything to sully.
Okay.
Sully the original.
Nah, you can't sully that movie. It's classic.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, so my first anticipated movie is just around the corner.
Yeah.
And that is Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah.
I am super stoked for this movie. Steven Spielberg. I kind of made a comment a couple weeks ago or when I was talking about John Williams did the score for the Post, and I kind of wish he'd done the music for this instead. But I've heard now some of the score, and it's Alan Silvestri who did the music for Back to the Future. So I'm coming around on that. I'm confident that the music's going to be really good. And but this movie is it's like my childhood condensed into 140 minutes.
Sure. Now, have you read the book?
twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I haven't read the book, so I really don't have a lot of knowledge about this going in.
Yeah.
But I am very excited for it.
I do understand that that there's a lot that has been changed from the book, because there's a lot more pulp culture references that it's impossible to get the licenses to
Right.
all of that and stuff like that. So I know there's some people that are going to be like, that was nothing like the book, blah, blah. I know that it's going to be a lot different, but the key elements will be there. I'm actually kind of looking forward to the idea that it's going to be a little bit different than the book, because then that's going to actually keep some surprise to the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very excited about this one.
I'm excited too. I'm excited that I don't know what's going to happen. And I actually was thinking about trying to listen to the audiobook before, but I've decided not to, just because I don't want to have any kind of expectations going in. I kind of do like that the trailers have even not given away. I don't feel like they've given away a whole lot. They've kind of just established that world without really telling you too much about what's going to happen in it. So I'm really excited for it too. I can't wait.
Awesome. So what's the next movie on your most anticipated list?
So the next movie on my list is also coming out in December.
Okay.
So a lot of mine.
You got a long way to go.
I got a
before
lot
you
of
get to your-
anticipating to do for mine. But so it's called Holmes and Watson. So
Yeah, I don't think I know anything about that one.
yeah, so I know there's a lot of versions of Sherlock Holmes out there. This one though is going to star Will Ferrell as Sherlock Holmes and John C. Reilly as Watson, and those two together are so funny. I mean, I love Talladega Nights and Step Brothers, and they really haven't done another big comedy together since then that I can think of. And so I'm really excited to see the two of them in a comedy together. Will Ferrell's one of my favorite funny actors. You know, I love Anchorman. I love Talladega Nights. I love a lot of his movies from the early mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Lately, I'm not, I didn't even see either Daddy's Home movies.
Oh, yeah. I saw the first one. I didn't see the sequel.
They just look, they look very blah. So I think pairing him again with John C. Reilly in a movie, I think that could really bring back the comedy of him that I really like and find hilarious. So I'm excited to see them. And then Ralph Fiennes is Moriarty, the bad guy in it. And so I think having this really serious, great British actor, and then I really hope Farrell and Riley are doing like terrible British accents in it. Like, I think that it just has the potential to be amazing.
Has there been a trailer or anything for this yet?
I haven't seen a trailer for it yet.
And we've got plenty of time for that. But
I think a lot of these December movies, we'll see trailers probably in some of the summer movies. But just the thought of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, that alone makes it an very highly anticipated movie for me.
So far, that doesn't sound that intriguing to me, but I will save final judgment on that for when I see a trailer.
Are you a Step Brothers or a Talladega Nights fan?
Kind of like they're funny, but they're not movies that I go back to.
Okay, see, that's my style of humor. I love it. I think that, and the chemistry between the two of them is just very strong.
Anchorman, I loved. The second one, not so much, but the first Anchorman, I loved.
So, I think it has the potential to be really, really great. But just like with Mary Poppins Returns, I think that it has a very high ceiling, but could also be a train wreck, you know? So we'll see, but I'm very excited about it. What is your second movie on your list?
So the second one on my list should come as no shock to anybody, but it's Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah. I when we were making our lists, listeners, just so you know, I intentionally left that one off mine because I knew Mike would want to talk about that one. So
yeah. I mean,
I'm surprised you didn't even bring it up first.
But there's something about Ready Player One that is just, it's so new, and it's just.
Well, talk about Solo.
Yeah. So with Solo, the kid that they got, Alden Ehrenreich. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce.
You're the
his
one
name.
who decided to try to pronounce his name, not me.
Alden. His name's Alden. he looks enough like he could pass as a young Harrison Ford. The voice isn't quite there yet from what I've seen in the trailers, but we'll see. I don't think that matters quite so much. He's got his own voice, you know. But we're gonna get to see how Han meets Chewie. We're gonna get to see how he gets the Millennium Falcon from Lando. Speaking of Lando, we got Childish Gambino playing Lando Calrissian, Donald Glover.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, seeing him in the stills and in the trailer stuff, man, he just emanates Lando Calrissian. So this movie comes out on May 25th, and I want to see what you think here. I think that there's a missed opportunity.
May the 4th.
May the 4th. It's a Friday. It's a Friday. Movies come out. Why wouldn't they do that? I mean, I get scheduling and stuff like that, and what's the best available weekend for whatever's coming out, but man, I think Star Wars fans would have just eaten that up.
Yeah. I think it's going to do the same business no matter what.
I agree, but I agree.
I see what you mean there. But so I was looking forward to this one a lot. My excitement for it has gone down a little bit just because I was really excited that Phil Lord and Chris Miller were doing a Star Wars movie. I love what they do. They did the 21 Jump Street remake. They did the Lego movie, both of which are things that you wouldn't be excited for, or I wasn't excited for necessarily, but were amazing. And then I think giving them this world, I was really excited. And then they replaced Lord and Miller with Ron Howard, who for me is just a very meh director. Not bad, not great, but very meh. And I know that there's a lot of talk about they didn't really fit in with the Star Wars world with how they...
Well, from what I heard, that they were basically turning it into a slapstick 21 Jump Street type movie.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not. I'm not. That does not sound like a Star Wars movie that I want to see.
And that's the thing, is they decided to make the movie that Star Wars fans want to see, which I am a Star Wars fan.
But maybe if they brought them in to do that with a non-established character, did something different in the Star Wars world.
And maybe that's it. Maybe they were very upset with the two of them messing with very established characters. But I was excited to live in the Star Wars universe that they were going to create for us. And so I'm a little disappointed that didn't work out. Still excited about the movie, but I will always wonder what movie we would have gotten, because from my understanding, Ron Howard pretty much
started over.
Didn't use a lot of what they had created,
like reshot like 70 to 80% of the movie.
So
maybe there's a Lord and Miller cut out there somewhere.
No, because they cut them out very early in the process. So I'm a little disappointed in that. I'll always wonder what that movie would have been, and I hope that script leaks. I would love to see what that would have looked like, but I'll always wonder. I'm still excited about it. I'm always going to be excited for a new Star Wars movie, but I don't know. I kind of wanted that version of the movie.
Well, we can agree to disagree on that one. What's your third movie?
My third one is one coming up a lot sooner than December. It's coming out in October.
Oh,
yeah. And
so
this
much
one,
closer.
This one should be probably the gay movie to anticipate of the year. So it's a remake of A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen either this is the third time they're remaking it. So I'm not as familiar with the story, but just seeing who all is involved with this, it just seems like they're basically just making a movie for us gays. So it's going to star Lady Gaga.
Stephanie, whatever her last name is.
No, Lady Gaga. It's also going to have, from RuPaul's Drag Race fame, Shangela and Willem are going to be in it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So a couple drag queens, right? And then a personal favorite of mine, Dave Chappelle, is going to be in it. So that's cool to me. The one thing that kind of gives me some trepidation about it is the director is going to be making his directorial debut, and it's actually going to be Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
So Bradley Cooper is directing it, and so without having...
And starring.
I didn't see that he's starring in it, is he?
Yeah, he's basically playing the Chris Christopherson role.
Oh, see, I am not... Yeah. So, but Not really sure what to expect from Bradley Cooper directing. He hasn't directed anything before, and he's got some people who aren't necessarily established actors. I mean, as much as I love Lady Gaga, Shangela, Willem, Chappelle, like, they're not known for their acting.
Yeah.
They're, known for other things. And so, it is interesting that an actor is going to be directing them. So I think it just has the potential to be huge in gay circles. I'm sure that it'll be one that we will be talking a lot about when it comes up.
So I'm really looking forward to the music then that they're going to come up with for this one, with having Gaga being in there. And
yeah, like I said, I think it just has a lot of potential. I think regardless of the quality of the movie, gays are going to flock to it.
Yeah,
it's definitely one that I'm really excited to see what they do with it. I think that it could be a huge disaster. I think it could be a dumpster fire of a movie, and I would still love it probably.
Yeah.
But if it's done well, I think that it could be one of the best movies we see this year.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that one too.
What's next for you, Mike?
I tended to apparently I kind of was more on this half of the remainder of the year than you were, but next for me is Avengers: Infinity War.
Yeah.
I think this movie just looks amazing. Just that most recent full trailer that they put out is just, there's just so much going on in that. I hope that it's not too much. I think that this movie has the potential to be a little overwhelming. But if it's done right, I think that this could be one of the best of any of these Marvel movies.
Yeah, I think that they've really proven that they know what they're doing. So I have complete faith that it'll be good. I think with all those character stuff in, though, I don't think it'll be a movie that if you aren't familiar with the Marvel universe, that you'll be able to go in and really pick up on. And so I think that could be maybe a drawback to it. And another thing, with how successful Black Panther has been this year, I think that there could be some people who go to it to see Black Panther and may be disappointed that, with all these other characters, he may not have as big a role.
And he's been front and center in a lot of the marketing.
Well, it even looks like some of the movie takes place in
Wakanda. Yeah.
And so maybe they will increase how much, and maybe knowing that this movie was coming out so shortly after Black Panther, maybe they intentionally tried to tie in that character a little bit more. So hopefully they do it well. But like I said, Marvel has done everything well. I have full faith that they will execute this. I mean, they've really been building towards this ever since the first Avengers, when they showed Thanos. And so I know that this is kind of the culmination of that. So I'm really excited to see what they do.
Yeah. Speaking of Thanos, that's the one thing that I'm not loving so far is just the CGI look of Thanos. I'm not buying it just yet, but I feel like though, once it's all said and done and the movie's going on, it probably won't matter that much. It's just, and they may even still be working on the CGI, which happens sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure they are. And I think he has the potential to be a really great villain who's very different from, so we just had Michael B. Jordan be the villain in Black Panther, who was a very human, a literal human character, like a very relatable character. I think Thanos is going to be on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, just larger than life.
Exactly. And so I'm excited to see that. I just hope that, I hope they do a little bit more work on the CGI.
Yeah.
For him too. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, let's keep moving. What's your next one?
So my next one, my last two are movies that I think are going to be movies we're talking about next winter when the Oscar talk heats up a little bit. So my first one of those is called First Man. It is a movie about Neil Armstrong and the first mission to the moon, and it's directed by Damien Chazelle, who did La La Land and Whiplash.
Okay.
and it's going to star Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong.
I'm on board. I'm on board already.
Yeah. So, and then Claire Foy is going to be in it playing Neil Armstrong's wife. And so Damien Chazelle has obviously done great work. I loved La La Land. I thought he did an amazing job with that movie. He's clearly a very talented filmmaker. And so I'm really excited to see what he does with a very different kind of movie. I mean, Whiplash and La La Land were both focused on music and, that kind of world. This is very different from that. And so I'm very excited to see what he does. And I think Ryan Gosling is one of the best actors working today. And so I think he is perfect for the role of Neil Armstrong. So I can't wait to see this one. I think this one will definitely be getting some love at the Oscars next year.
From what you just described, that sounds like a movie that I will be very excited to see myself.
I think this movie could be the movie Ryan Gosling wins an Oscar for. I think that they might be setting him up for that because obviously any movie where you're playing this larger than life historical figure. I mean, we just saw it with Gary Oldman winning Best Actor for playing Winston Churchill. So we could see Ryan Gosling get a well-deserved Oscar, hopefully maybe for playing Neil Armstrong. And the only thing that has me worried is this movie is coming out in October, which is a little early for those Oscar push movies, and maybe it does get pushed back, but we'll see. But I have very, very high hopes for this one.
If it starts to get some buzz, sometimes they'll re-release the movie to like closer to Oscar season.
Yeah, but, and then we saw with Get Out last year. It doesn't have to be in that prime Oscar season, but just with them announcing already that it's coming out in October, that doesn't seem like. That's usually not when you release your Oscar movie.
Yeah.
Typically, they hold those off until November and December. But maybe October is just when they'll do a limited release, and then the wide release will be later. Who knows? Who knows? I have a lot of faith in this one.
Cool. Well, I'll watch out for that one.
What's your next one, Mike?
My next one is a sequel that is long overdue. Incredibles 2.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for this movie to come out. Every time that they would announce another Cars sequel, I was like, where the hell is Incredibles 2? But the beauty of this is, too, so it picks up right after the first one. With animation, no one ages, so it's awesome. They can just pick right up where they left off.
Because the first one came out in, 2004?
Yeah, it was
a long time. I mean, it was before... to think that they had this superhero movie before superhero movies
were the thing.
Yeah. This was before any of the Marvel movies came out. It was before Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was before this big fad. So it'll be interesting. I think it's the perfect time now for an Incredibles sequel to come out.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Definitely one of my favorite Pixar movies. Was the first Incredibles.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, like, I was going back and forth between this and Wreck-It Ralph 2. But this one definitely has my attention more than Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, Pixar has established themselves. Now, their sequels are not always the best. Their sequels don't always live up to the first movie. Yeah. We won't even talk about Cars because that's trash to me, but the Monsters University, not the best. Now the Toy Story sequels have been great though, so hopefully this goes more that route than,
which I really think it will.
I think that this has so much potential. I'm not a huge fan of Pixar doing sequels. I think they do such great work with all their original stuff. Coco last year, for example, was amazing. But if they're going to make a sequel about anything, what better than The Incredibles 2?
Yeah, like you said, now's the time.
Yeah, it's so perfect timing. So I'm very excited for that one.
So why don't you finish out your list for us?
So my last one is the one I am actually most excited for this year.
Okay.
I honestly didn't even know it was happening, but until I started researching, what movies were coming out this year to put together this list. And then when I saw the cast involved, the director who is making it, what the topic of the movie is, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to see this right now. It's coming out in December. I think it'll be like I said, another Oscar movie that we're talking about next year, but it's called Backseat. It is a movie about Dick Cheney, kind of about his life.
Okay.
And it's directed by Adam McKay, who we talked about Anchorman earlier. He got his start directing a bunch of Will Ferrell's movies. So he directed Anchorman and Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. But then a couple years ago, stepped into a more dramatic area and directed The Big Short.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was, nominated for a bunch of Oscars. He got nominated for Best Director. And I think with that comedic background, telling these serious stories that are kind of about, these huge calamitous things that happen. So Big Short with the big housing market crash back in 2008. And then a story about Dick Cheney's life. I think that is the perfect
comedy.
Right. Like I can't wait to see how he tells this story. I loved The Big Short. I thought that was a really well done movie, taking something very complicated and making it something that people could see and be entertained by. And so, and Will Ferrell and Brad Pitt are two of the producers of the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
So what better way to balance out the comedy and the
I'm willing
drama?
to bet both of them have cameos in there too. Then.
I bet, but here, and then listen to some of the cast. So Christian Bale is playing Dick Cheney. Amy Adams is playing Lynn Cheney, his wife. Steve Carell is playing Donald Rumsfeld.
Okay.
Sam Rockwell is playing George W. Bush. So Sam Rockwell, who just won.
Yeah.
I could see him getting
Absolutely.
another Oscar next year for Best Supporting Actor for that one. And then Tyler Perry is playing Colin Powell, which it'll be interesting seeing Colin Powell in a dress and a wig, because that's all Tyler Perry does, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But actually, I will say this: when Tyler Perry has done some good work. I don't know if you remember seeing him in Gone Girl, but he was in that movie with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And I really liked him in that movie. So I think
he was in the first of the Star Trek reboots too. He played an admiral.
Cool.
Whatever.
But no, I think this movie with that cast, that director, his kind of background, and I think that it has the potential to be a huge player next year when we're talking Oscars. I think with this one and with First Man, I can't see those movies being bad. Mm-hmm. They are going to be very solid movies at worst, but have the potential to be favorite movie of the year for me. I think.
Well, that does sound interesting. I think now that you mention it, I think I've seen some pictures of Christian Bale getting kind of beefed up to play Dick Cheney.
Christian Bale can change. How does he change his
chameleon.
body? I know he went from playing, Bruce Wayne, and getting all buff to be Batman. And then, had that part where he had to,
the machinist, I think it was. He was
like where
super skinny.
Yeah. He's just able to transform his body in crazy ways.
That can't be healthy though.
I know, but he's such a great actor. Like I could see him winning. I could see it being between Christian Bale and Ryan Gosling next March for who gets the best actor Oscar.
Christian Bale hasn't won an Oscar yet, has he?
No, he won supporting actor for, oh gosh, what was that boxing movie?
Oh, The Fighter.
Yes.
Okay.
He won supporting actor for that.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So he has an Oscar. Gosling doesn't. I think Gosling deserves one. But man, thinking of Christian Bale playing Dick Cheney, I could see
that's hilarious.
I could see that being a big role.
Yeah. Well, so I'll go ahead and finish this off now. So mine is another movie that's kind of just around the corner, but it's A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's directed and starring John Krasinski from The Office and 13 Hours, and then it stars his real-life wife, Emily Blunt, as his wife in the movie.
Yeah, and she plays Mary Poppins in this one too, right?
Absolutely. That's she's coming down with her umbrella to keep everybody quiet. Yeah, so basically from what I can tell from the trailers, some kind of creatures have inhabited the earth and they respond to noise. So the people that have survived have to live their lives extremely quietly, or else they run the risk of calling these creatures on them and being killed.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this trailer in front of every single
It does feel like
movie.
It's been out for a long time. Yeah,
I know. It's one of those where I'm like, okay, I just want to see the movie.
Yeah,
like,
put it out already.
Yeah, but love Emily Blunt. John Krasinski has not been as steady with the movies he's done. Obviously, he was amazing in The Office.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's ever been able to solidify a presence outside of being Jim from The Office.
Did you see 13 Hours?
No.
Okay, so
I had no desire.
He did a really good job.
But it does seem like lately he's trying to go in that, like, he's gotten real buff and sexy, and he's trying to go in that...
Trying to break away from that comedy.
Yeah, I think he tried the comedy route to stay in that, because I know he did that License to Wed movie with Robin Williams and the Leatherheads with George Clooney, while he was still doing The Office, and now he's trying to go for more of this like buff action star kind of thing. And so, and it seems like he's continuing that a little bit with this one. And so I'm excited for it. I think it could be really good. I think it could also be really terrible.
So the early buzz from South by Southwest was that this movie was fantastic.
Well, great.
Ready Player One apparently was the only movie that got like a bigger applause for it when it was done.
Well, that's great. I definitely, after seeing the trailer 13,000 times,
right.
I'm very excited to finally see this movie. I think they've done a really good job of getting it in front of everyone's eyes. So
we'll see. Well, that wraps up our list.
Yeah.
This was fun.
I know. It got me excited for 2018. This past weekend didn't have me excited. And so I'm glad we decided to talk about what we are excited about and not excited about for this year.
Yeah.
Instead of reviewing a newer movie.
Well, and this coming week, we've got Ready Player One coming.
It's coming.
And so my anticipation level then for the rest of this year is pretty high. So I think we've got a lot of things to look forward to.
We do. I'm excited.
Well, let's go ahead and give out some recommendations then. Do you have something to what's yours for this week? But that's all, folks.
I don't know why that killed me, but it did. Okay. So my recommendation for this week. So do you watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver?
I catch clips sometimes.
Okay. So I love that show. John Oliver is really smart and funny, and the way they construct that show is just so great. And the Last Week Tonight episode, they talked about Mike Pence.
Okay.
Current vice president.
Yeah.
And bigoted asshole. And John Oliver talked about his very homophobic record and homophobic past. But then
Mike Pence's, not his own, right?
Mike Pence's, yes. But then talked about, so the Pence's, Mike Pence and his family have a pet bunny named Marlon Bundo. And it's a very cute bunny. And they just released a children's book about Marlon Bundo. And so to troll Mike Pence, John Oliver also released a children's book about Marlon Bundo. But in his book, Marlon Bundo falls in love with another boy bunny and they want to get married. And they all have, and they released this children's book. It has sold so many copies that it's on back order now. They're having to print more. I ordered mine too late, so I'm gonna have to wait for it to get here. But I'm very excited for it. So I'm recommending something I haven't even read yet. But they also did an audio version of the book that has Jim Parsons and John Lithgow.
I actually heard a clip from it on Nina's show.
Yes. But the reason I recommend it is because besides just trolling Mike Pence, and this book actually is outselling the Pence's Marlon Bundo book, all the profits for it go to a couple of great causes. AIDS United, which is helping to fight the AIDS epidemic, and the Trevor Project, which assists LGBT youths who may be considering suicide or maybe troubled. And so two really, really great causes. All the proceeds are going to that. And it's just a great way to give a middle finger to terrible human being Mike Pence.
I like it. And anytime you can give a middle finger to a terrible human being, you should.
But it's an actual children's book. And I'm a child at heart, so I can't wait to read it. I think it's going to be great, but really love that John Oliver is being such a great ally to the LGBT community by doing that.
Nice. Well, I'll have to check that out and show it to my kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So mine this week, a little different than usual. I'm actually recommending a trailer. I just
like a double wide, to live in
a double wide with an inflatable hot tub.
Speaking my language, Mike.
Right?
Speaking to the Southerner in me.
Yeah. No. Anyway, so it's a movie trailer. I just actually saw this, and I'm really looking forward to it. So the movie is called Under the Silver Lake, and it's coming out in June. And so the synopsis of the movie is that it centers on a man named Sam, who's played by Andrew Garfield. And
sold. We're done.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm there.
He becomes obsessed with the strange circumstances of a billionaire mogul's murder and the kidnapping of a girl. In the trailer, you see he's like kind of obsessed with this girl and meets her one night, and then the next day, like, she's completely disappeared. Her apartment's cleared out, everything. But it's from Studio A24, who is just really, I feel like, knocking it out of the park these days with the movies that they're putting out. So, in fact, they did the movie that I recommended last week, Annihilation.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, so it's just I don't know enough about it yet to have included that in my most anticipated and
is it like does it look like is it a suspenseful movie?
It looks like it's
a thriller,
kind of a suspense.
It's kind of what it sounds
mystery,
like.
But it also looks like it has some funny elements to it.
Okay.
Like I don't think the comedy is the focus on it, but I'll put a link to the trailer in the show notes. Yeah, so like I said, the movie's called Under the Silver Lake. Know very little about it so far, but it enough so that I'm curious to find out more, and hopefully it'll get other people interested in seeing what's going on with it.
Nice. I'll have to check out that trailer. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, and like we said, Andrew Garfield.
Hello.
Yeah. All right. So Ryan, is there anything else that you've got for this week to say?
Nope.
All right. Well,
I'm done. I have no words.
No words.
No more
words. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and at Real Gay on Twitter, and Real Gay Movie Show on Instagram and Facebook. We're trying to expand all of the places that you can hear the show. As of now, I do believe we are on Google Play. So we're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, at realgaymovieshow.com, and working on trying to get Spotify as well. So anyway, hope your day is real gay.